Hi, katzcradul here. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to share this with you or not, but I've been thinking about it for several hours and decided to go ahead. Because I know that you struggle as well with family members who are not awake, and family members who you try to encourage to prepare for what's coming, for what you're certain is coming, and they don't want to hear it, and they're not interested, and their normalcy bias is so strong that they can't picture a time when we might have need for food storage or stored emergency supplies or that kind of thing. And I get from some of my older family members, well, this isn't bad. You know, I lived through World War II and that was bad. Well, yeah, maybe that was tough. Maybe that was tough. And food was sometimes hard to come by, and clothes were hard to come by, and tires, and there was fear. I understand that, but you know what? We're living in our own war times, and I think it's pretty scary when, you know, you go to pull into your driveway at 11:30 at night and you look around to see if there's anybody hiding in the garage, or I mean, things people didn't have to worry about long ago, or you worry about if you're going to get shot, you know, walking into your mall to go shopping, or whatever. Anyway, I thought I would share with you an exchange that I had with a very, very close family member, and I'll leave their name out of it. So if they happen to see this, their name won't be there, and I've X'd out my names on these exchanges. It's taken a lot of my time today because this person is a very good writer, and when I write back, I want it to be good, and I want it to be without mistakes, so it's taken a good bit of time. But I want to share these exchanges with you to encourage you not to give up. Lots of times, if it's just this person and me corresponding, I'll simply say thanks a lot for that information and have a good day. But on this message I got today, it was also addressed to all of my brothers and sisters. And because I don't believe any of mine are awake, I couldn't just let it go. I had to respond. So I hope you maybe will learn a little something as you listen to this exchange, and if nothing else, that you might even find it humorous. So here goes. Here's the email that I received this morning. And my beloved family member starts. Let me go to the very first of this email. Here we go. Months after Granger, and that is a politician in Texas, months after Granger sounded an alarm, then backtracked, her old warning that a new and unprecedented executive order suggests President Obama is ready to declare a national emergency and institute martial law is showing up again on the internet. Fact is, the executive order she cited in March has been in effect every year since Bill Clinton issued it in 1994. George Bush rubber-stamped it 8 times, Obama 4 times. Here's Granger's clarification, issued April 30th, and then he posts the link, and I went and read that link, and I will attach that link for you as well. I responded to my family because it was sent to all my brothers and sisters as well. I keep track of what gets posted on whitehouse.gov on a weekly basis. Although this executive order has been a standing order since '94, you should educate yourself as to what Obama considers his, in quotes, his resources. Read the definitions section of this executive order carefully. The terminology is much different than in the original '94 version. I know because I compared them side by side, pardon me, despite having been told it's the same document. And concerning martial law, check out the following. And I gave a link to the millions of hollow point bullets that have been ordered. And I said, I wish someone could explain to me why Homeland Security needs so much ammo for domestic purposes, especially ammo intended not just to kill, but to mutilate. Then I gave him a second link about all the bullet-resistant booths that have been ordered by Homeland Security. And I say, here's a press release for the company that sold the DHS tens of millions of dollars worth of bulletproof checkpoint booths. And then I gave the link. I'll provide that for you as well. Then I talk about millions on security pardon me, $3.5 million that was spent for guarding government buildings here in the Midwest. Kind of a curious story. Then I said, for goodness sakes, just look at the security measures put in place for the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, this week in Charlotte. And then I list everything that they're prohibiting, including handbags, strollers, canned drinks, all that kind of thing. And I said, you can't carry a handbag? I finished out by saying, our country is in trouble. We're quickly headed to World War III. The economy is going to crash at some point because it's only been propped up by QE1 and QE2. And if they institute QE3, that's quantitative easing, it will be like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. The drought this year will impact food prices worldwide in an unprecedented way, and in all likelihood, next year's drought will look much the same, considering next year is anticipated solar maximum. People are hot, tired, overworked, underpaid, overtaxed, government and Prozac dependent. Remember that in their spare time they're watching violent movies and playing violent video games that glamorize murder, theft, violence, gunplay, assault, etc. When the collapse happens, all these people who are in this frame of mind will be unleashed on the public when their government checks do not arrive in the mail week after week and when they are no longer able to get their medication. For many living in the cities, even though there may be food on the shelves at the grocery stores, most will not be able to afford it, and even if they can, it would be unsafe to leave their homes due to social unrest. If you're paying close attention, you should be able to see what the future holds. What I've talked about here may be things you've never considered. I hope you studied out for yourself to learn what lies ahead of us. God help us all. And my family member writes back, and here's what they have to say now. I'm guessing that neither Obama nor Romney's pessimistic about the future, or they'd be hauling with their families to a hideaway in the Himalayas. Regarding the ammo, it's being distributed to about 300 special agents in 41 locations across the country. They should be as well armed as the criminals they go after. And then they attach a link to Snopes.com, which is trying, I think, to debunk or to negate all the articles that have come out about all the hollow point bullets the government's been ordering. Then they continue. As for the bulletproof booths, I've asked a congressional staffer to ask why. I don't put much stock in sites such as Godlike Productions or Prison Planet. So the good thing is, after this person got my last email, they probably zinged an email to some congressional office because probably didn't have an answer for that bulletproof booth thing. So here they continue. I still think it's irresponsible when a U.S. representative lifts a story from an unregulated, misinformed online website and posts it to her constituents. She has a dozen people on her staff, but apparently no one checked out her source. And the fact that despite her clarification, it's reappearing on the net after being debunked proves the information highway is a narrow, bumpy, potholed road. Yes, the gun nuts are out there. Every time there's a shootout, such as in Colorado and Arizona, there's a rush for greater firepower and more ammo. The belief that someone with a CHL, I guess that's what they call it down in Texas, Conceal handgun license, CHL, Conceal handgun license, can stop mass killings was debunked when trained cops mowed down bystanders at the Empire State Building. Speaking of security at the Democratic Convention, the RNC, Republican National Convention, used bomb-sniffing dogs and posted a long list of forbidden weapons, but allowed concealed handgun users to pack. Yes, I meant martial law. I corrected him on the earlier email for the misspelling of martial. He would have done the same to me. So that was his response. So I had to word one and write back, and here's what I said. I feel certain the Romneys and the Obamas of the world will fare pretty well when the country goes to hell. I doubt they do as well in the Himalayas. They don't have the skill sets for that kind of life. I found the Snopes article quoting NOAA officials laughable. 46,000 rounds of hollow point bullets and 500 paper targets for 63 agents? Are you kidding me? Really? It would be very unlikely that those expensive copper-jacketed rounds would be used for target practice. My husband, who served as a marksmanship instructor in the U.S. Air Force, training security police and law enforcement, assures me that expensive rounds like hollow points are not used for target practice. A less expensive round, known as wad cutter, flat on the front, makes a nice clean hole in paper targets. Easier to count that way. Not to say there's not poachers, but I had no idea the criminal element was that into seafood. I don't put much stock in Present Planet or Godlike Productions either. The information is so widely available in other places. The sources I referenced previously were CBS News, the people who made the Bulletproof Booth's own website, etc. The information is out there now, and you don't have to go to rogue sites to find it. The cops at the Empire State Building needed more time at the shooting range, to be sure, lots more. For your viewing pleasure, here's a 71-year-old man with a Conceal handgun license who took care of a couple of hoods the Texas way. And then I attach a video that you'll want to watch too if you haven't seen that. I finished out by saying, there were more than 30 people in the internet cafe at the time who lined up to thank him. Just one of several such stories I've seen in the last few weeks. Every time I go to my local Walmart, I pray there's a couple of concealed carry folks in there as well. And then I sign my name. Not sure where this is going to go, and not sure that I've done any good. But I'm not going to quit trying. If I can do anything to help wake other people up to the sense of urgency that there is to make preparations for the future, I'm going to do that. You know, I started on YouTube not really for the thousands and thousands of you who have subscribed to my channel, which I certainly appreciate, and I hope it's helped, and I thank you so much for watching. But I signed up to make videos for people I love and care about, who I know, who I wanted to be able to get information to, and it's so disheartening for me sometimes when those that I care about most don't get it. I'm not giving up, and you don't give up either. Take the time. I know it takes time to respond to people who write to you and ask you questions or say things that you know are just not exactly how it is. But take the time, and hopefully it'll pay off at some point. I'll let you know what happens to my loved one here who I care about so much. Hope you're having a great day, and until next time, Cat's Cradle.